I'll log out, log back in, clear the cache, relink everything, and it
Yeah.
still won't show like subs and resubs. And then one day I won't do anything. I won't log out or switch anything around, and then it'll just be like, oh, okay, here's all the subs that we didn't count for the last 2 weeks. We're gonna go ahead and put those in your feed now. Like, okay, um, but you
Well,
know,
that's wow. That's really weird because I know like for me the most I've ever had is I think every like month or couple of months OBS or whatever will like I have to re-log it or reset it kind of thing,
hmm
and then it just kind of like I guess it's the key or the token or whatever has to redo itself, or like it I don't know, it only lasts for so long kind of thing.
what do you use OBS?
I use just straight OBS.
Okay, see, I use
I
Streamlabs. I think
yeah,
Streamlabs is worse.
so I was actually told when I first started out, I was using Streamlabs, and I was playing a lot more Overwatch, and I was told at that time to swap to OBS because Slobs deal has like FPS and frame issues. So I swapped to it, and it actually worked better for me. But like since then, I've kind of like changed a couple things on the connection side, like bitrate and stuff, which also happened, or
Yeah,
which also has helped.
I one of the things that has almost completely fixed the issue for me is I no longer record the streams.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
let Twitch record them, and then I download them from Twitch.
Yep.
Uh, but not recording the streams while I'm streaming. I just don't really have any issues anymore. It's the weirdest thing.
I feel like that might take like bandwidth because it's trying or something like it's trying to write to hard drive, I guess.
I mean, it could be. I just it's just so much easier to blame your ISP. Um, it's so
Oh
much
no, I agree with you on that. It's especially right now, ISPs are being very shitty.
yeah, so much more. It's the it's the effective strategy. Like, all right, not
Yeah.
even what's the bold move, Cotton? Let's see if it works. No, it's not even that. It's just like no, it 100% works. Just blame your ISP.
Well,
Um,
that's the trick, right? It's like you blame your ISP, and then they'll be like, "Oh no, oh no, well, yeah, we understand the issue, and somehow you get a discount." Be like, "Here, how about a couple months of the fancy upgrade, the upgraded internet? Try this."
I want to I want to start telling people that the greatest education system in America is Spectrum Internet because they're so um, forward thinking that you can have 10 people learn from the same company and have 10 different opinions. Um, on
Wow.
oh no, yeah, it's amazing. Like every time we have somebody a new technician like come
Yeah.
out, there's like a new thing that they've discovered. And then if they screw something up or whatever, you get a new technician out and they're like, "Well, I don't know why they did that." And here's what the actual problem is. And then you get a new technician and then, eventually like I don't know.
It's
Oh,
just different people every time.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you can have that many different opinions.
That's really funny. I don't think we've. I'm trying to think now. Like, we've only ever dealt with people over the phone when it comes to like our internet and stuff.
Mm.
I think my favorite though is I think we had just gotten like new phones or new something, and at our house here, and then we were trying to talk about like we were asking about upgrades, right?
Mhm.
Like we were just curious. It's like, oh, we've been with your company for however long, and we want to see about upgrades. And it was really funny because the guy's like, oh, there's this, and then without even thinking, he straight up just goes ahead and resets the internet, upgrades everything. I'm sitting here like watching a stream or just hanging out. Oh, you know what? No, it was a Saturday night because it was movie night. Like I usually host the movies for the Mushu Clan movie night,
Mhm.
so it was really bad because we were hosting the movies and um, all of a sudden my internet stopped and it had to refresh itself because the person on the other line's like, "Oh, you want an upgrade? Okay, let's just upgrade you." So they did it. They did it, and we're like, "Okay, now you're upgraded." Then we're like, "No, we're asking about the upgrades. We don't want you to just do it. We want to know like what the upgrade is first, or what you can offer us." and it was just really really funny because all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, then I'll reset it, and they did it again. They reset it like 3 times. It was I don't know. Their microphone or ISP companies are something special, I think.
Yeah, I I think that at the end of the day, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I know people are just trying to work and stuff like that, but at some point, I would appreciate the honesty of somebody coming in and being like, you know what? I have no fucking clue. Like
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. This is
Have
well
you been
the
having that bad of issues though
no no no
with
no
your
no no
internet?
no 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 not anymore. But like when we were just having somebody, well, we were having bad issues for the longest time, and then eventually my router kept trying to. I mean, there was going through a time period where it was trying to um, every every night, like around 8 to 10, it was trying to update itself, and then I had a technician come over, and I explained what was going on, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it shouldn't be doing that. It should be like a one-time thing. Like we don't update like or every night." And
Yeah.
so at that point, we were like, "Oh, okay, so it's the router." So we switched out the router after having it for so long, and then it was completely fine. I haven't had really any issue, any speed issue, or that's one theory. The other theory is we complained so much that eventually they just caved in because we were calling them all the time. Cause like my mom's retired, like she doesn't give a shit. She'll just be like, okay, yeah, I can spend all day on the phone with you all too. Like,
Yeah.
so
I've got nothing else to do right now,
yep,
so
yeah.
that's really funny.
She's like, yep. Thanks to you all messing with my schedule, I can't watch the Golden Girls, so it's not gonna work out. You know.
You haven't introduced her to like Netflix or some streaming service yet, or something like that?
Well, I she we were talking about the Apple TV thing, but
Yep.
um, the thing about it is that she's always hesitant of new technology. I mean, grew up and she was born in the 40s, grew up 50s, 60s, all that stuff. So she's always
Yeah.
always kind of leery of new technology and having to figure it out. But yeah, we're talking about the Apple streaming service, and then Netflix is a possibility. The easiest thing to do would just be to put up or hook up Amazon Prime for because we have Amazon, so you
Oh
know.
yeah, that would be pretty quick and straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things where it's a fine line between I'm like, do I really want to give the richest man in the world more money? And then I'm like, I kind of have to because I also need like toothbrush heads for my automatic toothbrush, like type of situation. Like I need to be able to brush my teeth, and
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is in the way of me brushing my teeth. Um, you know, so,
Just use the finger. Just use the finger. You know, go old. Just go straight old school. Like, haven't you ever been in that situation where you were at a friend's house sleeping over, right, and you forgot your toothbrush or something? It's like, well, I gotta brush my teeth. Okay, what's available? My finger. That works.
oh well, no, actually, I got one for you. I used to wear contacts, and I you have a little container that you put your contacts in with the solution at
Yep.
night, and I I it it would always bubble over, so I was used to putting a tissue around the top of the container so that when it bubbled over, it wouldn't spill everywhere because it always fizz out the top of the hole. Um,
Okay.
and but the my friend, his sister, uh, she we were basically like the downstairs bathroom was also her bathroom, so I put my contacts in there, and she saw that I like just kind of like put a tissue there, and she was about to throw it away. I was like, "Don't throw that away! It's got my contacts." And she thought I put my contacts as in a tissue paper, and like was gonna like put them back in. She's like, "We have containers for these." I was like, "What? No, no, no!" I'm like, I'm not that much of a degenerate that I'm just like, yeah, let me just put these in a tissue paper and then just put them back in my eye.
I
Um,
think my favorite is I've had like I tried contacts for a little bit, but like my eyes the way they are, I have like I have this condition and crap like that that my they're it's really hard to poke a finger in your eye all the time just to get the contacts in. And I can remember, I think it was in like high school. I wore contacts one day, but the one was just bugging me, and I kept rubbing my eye until it eventually came out. And I had the contact, and I just had to, I threw it in like the only thing I had, a plastic bag. And I was like, all right, at least I have it. It's in a, could be dried up and moldy or some crap, but it's there.
I yeah, I don't know. It's always kind of funny the like the makeshift things that we try to do to like you know make the best of a certain situation.
Yeah.
Um,
So, like the duct you use duct tape whenever you can, right? And duct tape always comes in handy for
oh
something.
yeah, yeah, like it's just a flesh wound, just like duct tape it up.
Yeah. Well, haven't you ever heard in like sports, when someone like in sports all the time when they get like cuts or something, instead of like stitching you up and whatnot, they literally take like, glue and just like glue the wound so it sticks together and holds.
Whole no, I mean I know they have surgical glue, but not Elmer's.
It's like it's some super glue or something, but like it literally the first thing the I've seen they glue it together. It just kind of sticks. It tightens up and it closes the cut so you're not bleeding or something. It happens all the time,
Man, that sounds like some type of makeshift like cauterize the wound. Uh,
right?
yeah, no,
Like you seen those TV shows and that where they take the pen or something to make like a trach for the throat or something like that. It's like, what do we have on it? Someone have a pen.
yeah.
Those classic scenes. Oh, dude, I've seen that so many times.
Oh, all right. Well, it looks like we got some people showing up. So we got like we've got a we're starting to get like a behind the scenes segment before the official
Sounds good.
before the official interview starts. Not that it's
Just
like super formal or anything. I'm wearing a
no, no.
friggin' bunny outfit for crying out loud. But show up to this at your job interview. It's not Easter. It is now. What?
You're looking sharp. What can I say?
I appreciate it. Um,
I didn't realize the bunny suit actually has hands, though. That's my favorite part. Is
oh,
it's like I saw there's like a mitt or something that goes over your hand too.
yep. Just
Like it covers. Yeah, there you go. See, it covers everything.
oh, it's got shoes with like little bunny ears on them and stuff too.
Oh,
I'm not
that's too good.
I'm not wearing the shoes right now because like no random point I'm just gonna like throw my feet up. I guess
Just put your feet up.
yeah, I guess I can go get him here in a little bit. Oh
That's funny.
the ladder's behind me, Dragon. I've been moving it around the room just to annoy you all. Like it should be over there. Oh, wait, it should be over there, but I've just been moving it since you all keep trying to look for it now.
Just
Um,
using your ears to spot the ladder. It's over here. It's over here.
yeah, there.
I see.
Um, but yeah, well, as always, I take the first few moments to let the guests kind of introduce themselves, tell us a little bit, about like their name and stuff like that, and then we'll take it from there. But Andrew, I'm going to go ahead and let you take a few minutes and introduce yourself.
Sure. Okay. Hi everybody. So it's really weird because most people actually know me as Andrew, but my Twitch name and streaming name is Haughtmeal. It's funny because like even Yawny calls me Andrew, and I think most people I was introduced as Andrew. But yeah, my name's Andrew or Haughtmeal. Both work. I've been streaming probably for about a year, maybe just under a year, like 8 or 9 months, something like that. And I basically I just finished up school recently. Within like the again it was like all within the past year I started streaming, finished up school. I'm a variety person, so I like to swap up, play different games. But for me, like when it comes to Twitch, the biggest thing that I've really enjoyed is just being able to sit here and do this kind of interact and chat with everyone, and that's kind of what I really enjoy about it. And yeah, that's pretty much me. Right now, it's kind of hard to do much of anything with COVID going on, but for the most part, There's not much else to tell. I'm terrible with introducing myself.
Oh
I don't. Yeah.
no, you're completely fine. And yes, Dragon, he is Canadian.
Yes,
Uh,
I am Canadian. I say about. I say out. Apparently, I say milk wrong. This is something my chat complains about me complains all the time. Is I say milk instead of milk, milk with an I instead of I say it like with an E or something.
so milk.
Milk. That yeah, I say milk. Isn't that how it's said?
Yeah, well, I mean, I come from an area where they don't say washing machine, they say washing machine. So, like,
Wait, what?
there's no friggin' R in there at all. So no, you've at least got
Okay.
you've got at least some room for interpretation. Like where I'm from, they're just adding letters.
Washing machine. I like that one.
Yeah, washing machine. And then I'm trying to think. Mama Yan, one of her favorite phrases to this day, it makes me giggle every time, and I have not figured out what the hell it means.
Oh
It's
no.
it's shit fire and save the matches, and I have
What?
I have not figured out what that means. Like to this day, but I love using it in any context I can. Like, yeah, shit fire and save the matches. I don't know. She heard it from her mom, and like it's just
I've tried to put.
Missouri.
I know. I'm like saying it in my head a few times. It's like
Yeah,
what?
no, the images is funny. It's like I ate a really spicy taco. Um,
I guess. Yeah.
it's
I
a,
mean, I
I guess it's a Missouri thing. I have no idea. You'd have to. There's got to be there's got to be an etymology somewhere. Where
I guess.
yeah, I don't know. One of these days we'll find it out. We'll go unearth the great mystery of why you would shit fire and save matches. Seems like a painful experience, but um,
I mean, if that was your superpower, that'd be interesting.
it's like my one and only thing is an awkward campfire I can make.
Don't worry, guys. I got this. We're in matches. I got it.
Yeah, you
You're at
know
home. It's like, let me just light the fireplace real quick.
the
Hold on.
the power the power goes out. You're like, don't even think about it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. We were actually talking about this last night, and there's a few of us after movie night. We were joking around, and somehow we got on to talking about farts, and we found a GIF of the old trick where you're trying to light your fart.
Yep.
We found a GIF where I don't even know if it's physically possible, but the GIF made it seem like they held the lighter up, or the person they had the spiciest fart or something. It was just like the fire just ignited. It was something. So I mean, maybe it's possible. Who knows? Maybe you need just like a little ignition, little spark to get that fart started.
Yeah, I'm not. It's it's one of those things where like I don't think there's gonna be like an official. It's like that's a. Uh, wait, hang on. Sounds like me. This guy might be the Canadian me. I don't.
Are we very alike? Oh boy.
Um. Well, you might be. That's Barry speaking. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure of the physics of farting. I know that
It's something I haven't looked up
yeah,
yet.
I know that there's methane produced. I mean, I guess that could be combustible. Okay, we got to get back on track. I can't, this is
You farted.
yeah, no, we're
You
gonna
created enough methane.
yeah, we're
I'm
gonna
sorry, that's just in the back of my mind now.
no,
Well,
no,
okay.
no, no. This is going on the Mushu highlight reel. This is for the stream too. But this is a dude in a bunny outfit being like, "What are the physics of farting?" You know, like Andrew, Doctor Andrew, what would you? I'm gonna
Dr. Andrew, I like that.
when I go to my gastroenterologist, I'm gonna in August, I'm gonna have to ask him, be like, "So look, I know we're here, serious topic, my precancerous condition, but can you light your farts on fire?"
Is it physically possible?
Is it
I'm sure you get this question a lot.
Yeah, humor me. Humor me. Can you?
Could you imagine how many times someone's actually been asked that question?
Oh, I'm sure like dude, like he's fixed a blown out butthole before. Like I'm sure that at some
Okay.
no, I'm sure that at some point somebody has like tried something and just like he's had to go in there and rectify the rectal situation. You know.
Oh, but okay, all right, we can move on. The The images in my head just went a certain direction.
Um, my own mods are like, what the
What
hell?
the fuck is this?
Yeah. Uh, that did that in the movie because movies always tell the truth. Well, I do know. Here's what I do know. I do know that there's almost as old as the internet itself, but it's 100% possible. There's a GIF of a guy who was weightlifting and he was squatting and was he? Yeah, he was squatting and the pressure built up so much that he basically blew his intestines out. I mean, so
What?
oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the pressure builds up in the abdomen.
When you're weightlifting?
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, it'd basically be like a type of herniation.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I guess. Wow.
yeah. Yeah, herniations can happen from anything. I mean, I had a herniation when I was one. Had a hole like just kind of puncture in my intestine. Um, but anyways,
All
moving on. Yeah, moving on.
right.
So Andrew, tell me about your stream. No, um, so
Sure.
I actually didn't know that you had only been streaming for 8 to 9 months. I thought you'd been streaming for about a year. Um,
So I'm pretty sure maybe it's a bit about a year. I actually don't know exactly. Um, so I've the longest sub that I have right now are the people that are like the whatever they get the first 10 badge or whatever it is, right? The first badges or something now. The people they at least have I think like 8 or 9 months, something going on roughly that. But I maybe I've been streamed for a year because there's a bit where I wasn't affiliated. Um, and then I think I think it might have been like for a month or two of unaffiliated, and eventually I got on to I got a bunch of amazing hosts and raids and affiliated and stuff. So maybe it's been maybe roughly a year. I honestly have to look it up. Like for the life of me, I've looked at my Discord before. This is something I've actually tried to look and see, and I have no idea.
well,
I'd say about 8 9 months maybe.
yeah, I think that's the thing is like it's you always sit there and so there's the mental aspect of where you're like, okay, well, I started streaming at this point. And then you kind of forget about that because you didn't get affiliated until like a month or two later, a lot of
Yeah,
times. And then you're like, okay, because like I think I started streaming in October,
yeah.
and but I didn't get affiliated until like I mean, I had the ability to in like November, but I didn't actually fill out the paperwork until January. Because if I'm being completely honest, I didn't want to do more tax work going in for just a month or two. But yeah, I so for me it's been less than a year too. But I'm actually surprised. The more and more I do these interviews, the more and more I talk with people from especially from the Mushu team. Most people have been streaming less than a year, which is
Yeah.
the more I think about it, actually, the more it makes sense because Mushu herself hasn't been streaming that long.
I think
Um,
she's at 2 years now, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, but still, in the grand scheme of things, that's not I mean, there's people that have been streaming for 4+
Years.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
that some of them that I know. So, um, but it's
Well,
kind of interesting. Was streaming something you had kind of always planned on doing, or was it something you just kind of gave a shot and you were like, well, let's see how this goes?
I gave it a shot. So basically, kind of like the story behind it was I became part of the Mushu clan, and I got an opportunity. Like I got a really awesome opportunity where when I was joining the clan and the community and stuff, she wasn't as huge, right? Like she didn't have thousands or hundreds and hundreds of viewers and so on. So there was really like a chance to get to know people, and I actually got to know Masha as well. Like I got a chance to chat with her in during streams and even outside of streams. And I'd always joke about things like I like to kind of just joke about all sorts of stuff and that. And one of the things I like to joke about was I'd talk about I'd always make a joke, be like, "Oh yeah, I'll make this like my tier three, something special for my tier three subs, right? Like my OnlyFans account or my OnlyFans account, or like my premium Snapchat, right? Some nonsense like that." And I'd always joke with it. And then eventually, I flat out asked her, it's like, "So what would you think if like I was, if I were to try streaming and this and that?" And she really gave me like her words were, she gave me like this huge boost, like of like encouragement, and said, give it a chance, and she think I'd do pretty good at it. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try, see what happens. And honestly, like I've just been enjoying it. My plan, like it was never really in my plan ever to try to do streaming to whatever. I just really enjoyed showing on Twitch, and for the most part, I'd lurk quite a bit. It was just kind of randomly that I joined the Mushu clan and started interacting that way, and then eventually, yeah, I just was like, I'll give it a try, and I really enjoyed my time. Like, I don't have like a big base of viewers or anything like that, but the people that are there and that show up and interact with are some pretty quality people. And like I said, I really enjoy interacting and talking with them. So that's always kind of a really fun thing, because we get conversations like this about lighting your fights on fire or lighting your farts on fire. So
This
they're
is
always good times.
this is the quality professional entertainment you can come to expect from a man in a bunny suit with a moving alternating ladder in the background. Um,
Exactly. It's good times.
but I don't know. I've used the joke way too often, but I like to tell people that I tried to sign up for OnlyFans, and all I get is these pictures of these dudes named Dan. And it turns out I accidentally signed up for Only Dan's.
Only
Um,
dance. I like that.
but
I like that a lot.
yeah, I think a lot of people have similar stories, but it's interesting that so you got encouragement from Mushu herself. Was there anybody else that you had kind of talked to about streaming, or was it just more of a private thing that became more of a surprise once you opened up and did it? Or
I think it was more of a surprise. I think because like I don't know. I never, like I said, like I never really had any real desire or push or drive to try it. Of course, everyone thinks maybe once in a while or something. It's like, I want to try streaming or try this or try that. And I kind of decided, it might be interesting. I want to give it a try, and after that, I've talked with one or two people here and there, and that like it's funny because only a small portion of my our IRL friends even know that I stream, kind of thing. Like, um, I don't talk about it as much. And it was funny because like I was streaming while I was in school, right? So I'd be going to class and then coming home, and I'd be sitting there, and I maybe told like one or two people at school or something, or I'd say like, "Oh yeah, I'm streaming" or something. And like I never really would talk about it that much, but even when uh I know no one's ever told me or like been like, "What do you guys think if I were to stream?" It's just kind of more of a jokingly thing. And then as someone who like as I trust Masha, and like I trust Mushu very well, and she's someone who does stream, and to get that type of encouragement from a person like that, I was like, okay, that seems pretty good to me.
yeah, no, I think and she's very honest. If you guys have
Yeah,
not had I mean, Mushu is Mushu. She has not changed at all since I've known her, which of course, speaks volumes and credit to who she is as a person.
yeah.
Yeah, she if she if she would always encourage somebody and she would always want somebody to do their best. But if she thought that you were royally screwing something up streaming, she and you ask her, she'd let you know. I
Like
can't.
that's the thing, is I've done that too, right? Like I've gone back to her. I'll be like, I talked to her about her streaming, and she continues to be positive. I'm like, okay, then I must be doing something right, and I that is honestly one of the biggest things. And even now, when I've talked to people that are part of my quote unquote community, right? Like my small little community, they really enjoy it, and I was like, okay, then there's clearly something that is I'm doing right. I have no idea, but I'll take it, I guess. I'll go with it.
What and what because her primary game, almost exclusively for the longest time, was Overwatch. So
Yep.
were you also drawn to because we talked to Nar the other day, and he said that he had been looking for he was a support player and he had been looking for a stream to kind of learn from, and then he stayed for the community. But were you drawn to Overwatch when you first came to Mushu's stream, or was it more the entertainment slash community, or
All right. So here's the story. This is like kind of my. This is how I remember joining the Mushu community. So like I said, I was at school at the time, and as well as while I was at school, I was working at school as well. Like it was like a work study thing. So since I was college, you didn't have back to back to back to back classes. You'd have like sometimes some of your classes would be 8 a.m. and then you wouldn't have another class till noon, right? So you'd have gaps and stuff like that. So I had an opportunity where I'd have class and then I'd go to work for a couple hours and then I'd go to class and then I'd work a few hours. And it just happened to be that I was sitting in our little makeshift office or something working. Well, when I say working, you can't see, but I'm doing the finger quotes because I say working, but I'm really sitting. When I say work, basically I was IT support, and basically all that meant was if something was broke, then I'd fix it. Otherwise, my boss would be like, "Yeah, you could just chill, play a game on your computer or something." But if there was work, you do it. Otherwise, he's like, "Yeah, just chill." So I say working, I mean air quotes working kind of thing. Um, yeah, yeah. But it's funny because like I can remember sitting at the desk having my laptop open and I was bored. Open Twitch. One of the recommended streams was Mushu's, and honestly like first thought in my head was, oh hey look, cute girl playing a game. Okay, right? Like you can't help but notice that. So I clicked the stream. I was watching her stream, but what really drew me, because it was like I'd go back another day and another day and another day, was I sat there and I was chatting with her. I was messaging in chat and she was joking around and I was joking around. Um, I think at the time, Connor, aka What They Want, and there was one other person, I think it was another mod. I'm not sure. I think Corey maybe at the time. The two of them, we were joking about something, and I can just remember that we had like this ongoing joke, and we were chatting about it. It just really made me laugh. I was like, okay, cool. This is, these are cool people, and I shortly dropped a follow, and then I started joining the stream more and more and interacting with people, and that's just kind of how I found the community in the first place. And for me, it was like Overwatch wasn't my main thing. Like I played Overwatch, but I wasn't really as hardcore focused on it really. But when I got to know the community aspect and her community, and I've just been a part of it ever since. To be honest with you.
well, I think that's kind of the consensus that I get from a lot of people is that well, with really any streamers, you might be drawn into a game, but you're always going to stay for the community because the games, they evolve.
Yeah,
Streamers will switch the game, and what keeps the consistency though is the streamer themselves. Um, so you said that you met Mushu when she was kind of first getting started. How many people were there roughly when she was streaming when you first
I
started
would
watching?
say maybe averaging like just over 100, if that, because I
Okay.
remember very clearly I was there for a month or a couple months, and then she had gotten partnered. Like I think she just before she had gotten partnered, I'd started to join. I don't remember when she got partnered exactly, but I know she. I think all of a sudden I saw like an Instagram post or a post, an announcement in her Discord or something like that. It was like, oh, I hit partner, congrats, yada yada, so excited, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And then now she's just kind of skyrocketing and taking off kind of thing, right? But I would say maybe like roughly like 100 something views, if that, maybe. I,
Okay.
I, I That's the that I'm just guessing at this point, right? But I think it's something like that.
And so you said that you weren't, particularly interested in Overwatch. Did you start playing in community games? Is that kind of what got you into Overwatch, or was it just like, hey,
Um.
oh,
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, uh, or when, you were kind of watching, you were like, I'll stream. I'm not really sure what else to stream because that's my personal thing. I didn't know what else to stream at first. I was like, I play this game from time to time.
Yeah.
I don't hate it yet. That opinion changed really kind of rapidly. Anyways,
Yeah. I understand where you're going with that one. Yeah.
uh, but yeah. So it was kind of just a default. I don't know what else to stream. But did you develop an interest for it, or was it kind of more of something that you were just kind of go with the flow?
I think it was so for me when I joined the community. Like I wasn't the biggest Overwatch fan. To be honest with you, when I for competitive games, I like the first competitive online game that I played. A friend got me into, and it was League of Legends. And
Ah.
I had I'd been like a massive League fan for quite a number of years. Like it's funny because I'm I'm what 27 turning 28 in like a month or two, right? So I've there from about 18, 19, 20 or something. I got into League, and then I kind of struggled with my own personal issues, but the one thing that I kept going back to was League of Legends. That was kind of like a game that I could just turn my brain off and play. I got to the point where I followed like the professional scene and stuff like that. And then I took a break from that, and um, I started working on like going to school and that. And like during this time, I'd gotten Overwatch. Like I think Overwatch came out what 3 years ago, 4 years ago,
I think it's
something like
four
that. More than
because
that, four.
actually,
Is it
wait.
really?
Yeah, wait. Actually, no. It was 2000. Was it two? No, it was five because I think it's 2015.
Google says 16.
Uh,
The release date.
2016. Oh, okay. So yeah, four.
Yeah. So, okay, 4 years
Yeah.
ago. So like, if you look at it in perspective, my program was a 3 year program that I just finished this past year, right? So like at 2020, I guess. So it came out like a year before, and then I got it because it was like all hype and everything. Um, I got it like season one, played it for like a season or two, but it just it I don't know, it didn't I didn't play it consistently. And for me, when I joined the Mushu clan, it was Overwatch. It was like I know about Overwatch, I've played Overwatch, but what really drew me in was the community and Mushu herself. And then I started to be like, okay, I'm getting more into Overwatch and more into Overwatch. And when I actually started to kind of put myself or kind of like try, I guess, if that makes sense, like try to play more and try to be consistent and learn is when I started playing more Overwatch. And then when it came to the streaming side of things, Overwatch was kind of a default, but I kind of also wanted to get a chance to explore their games, try their games, and that's kind of where it is now. Where I'll go back to Overwatch all the time. That's fine. Like if I'm not playing something at the time, but then it's like, you know what, guys, I really want to play this game, or I've been wanting to try this, and I'll do that. And that's how I ended up playing Sekiro or Spyro or whatever else I've been playing.
Was it important early on for you to establish yourself as a variety streamer?
Uh, honestly, I don't really know because like my stream just kind of evolved, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
If I'm being perfectly honest with you, like I like you know how when you're first starting out or whatever and you're streaming things and people are always like, I feel like it's a constant thing where you say to the back of your head, it's like, why would anyone ever watch me, right? Like you have that internal question all the time. And then for me, I was sitting there like, I'm a like I'm gold, right? Like I'm not anything specifically. And for the longest time, I didn't really think of playing like what I could play. Like I don't have some high tier league account or CS:GO account or something. I'm more of an average player, I guess. But it was just I didn't know what to stream at the time, I think. And then I kind of got to the point where I enjoyed playing and streaming Overwatch, but I was like, I kind of want to play other games and try other things. So I was like, let's try playing this. And I think one of the first variety things I tried, and I actually got a lot of feedback from, which was really awesome, was Final Fantasy X. I think. I think that was the first variety game, and then it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I'm getting good feedback, so I kept going and trying other games, and I've been very excited and pleased with it.
Yeah, I was watching you play that as well, and it's always fun too. I think one of the biggest draws for anybody watching a streamer is, if they've played something before, whether it is a competitive game like Overwatch or whether it is a story-driven game, classic RPG like Final Fantasy X. If you've played it, you get to remember it all over, or well, I guess live vicariously for the first time. Get to have that memory all over again from somebody
Yeah,
else's viewpoint.
that nostalgia, basically. Yeah,
Yeah, or in the
and
case of
and
Overwatch, you're like, hey, I'm not the only one tilted. Uh,
that was the thing. I can actually remember at one point I was playing a game. I was playing Overwatch, and like I said, like I am not by any means good at the game. Like I'm a gold player. I think like my peak is plat, right? So it's like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not that great at this game, okay? But one of the things that actually it's made me smile and something that I actually remember is I had a couple people in my chat, and there was a guy that randomly showed up in my chat or something, and his one of his first questions was, "Are you a Smurf or are you really a gold player or something like that, like something along those lines?" And I basically said, no, I'm this is my elo, like I'm not very good at the game, whatever. And the comment was, or like his next question was like, oh, why, like how do you get so many people this or that to like watch you, or people to come to your stream? And he then he made some comment about like, oh, I'm like a top 500, or I'm this elo, or yada yada yada. And then I can remember two or three people in my chat were like, "Oh, it's the personality," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, then that kind of says something in itself." And that to me really felt, brought me up in that. And it was like, I know I'm not very good at Overwatch, but I don't mind streaming it at this point if people enjoy watching me, and I really don't mind like listening to people and talking like, oh yeah, I've been fortunate enough to know a few Overwatch streamers that are really good at the game, and I get a chance to pick their brains at times because I always want to learn and improve.
well, and I also think that your community, I've said this from day one, is also a reflection of you. So if somebody tethers their entire self worth to some arbitrary digital number, um, and that's what the characterization of who they are, or
Yeah,
persona, or whatever you want to say. I mean, because we all have, even if we're the most genuine people on earth, we do have days where we go in front of a camera to stream or whatever, and we're putting on uh, not an act, but we're maybe slightly happier than we would be if the camera were off, or something like that, because we talked about previously,
yeah,
um, dealing with depression and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of uh, high level players, if you will, in a plethora of games. Everything from Apex to Overwatch to League of Legends, who don't have a following, and they always want to blame it on something that what it really boils down to most of the times, that they're, and I'm not trying to be arrogant or dismissive, but they're just simply not approachable. And you try to go to their chat to engage them, and they're not gonna talk to you. They're not gonna help you. They're gonna look down on you if you don't meet their expectations. If you ask them any
yeah,
questions, they think that it's a reflection on you critiquing them and calling them out. I mean, I think we've all seen it.
yeah.
And
Like
oh,
I was gonna say, like I've seen it. Like I can remember, I don't know, I think like Mushu or someone rated she rated someone, and he was this person was like another big Overwatch streamer. And Mushu is like, she's a big Overwatch streamer, but I could still remember like his demeanor when we rated this person, like he didn't really acknowledge or say thank you for the raid or say this or that. He kind of just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, how's it, right, and just kind of kept going on about his day and stuff like that. And even though this person might be a big streamer, right, it's like there's still, I guess, courtesy and a thank you would be nice and stuff. And it's I definitely agree with you on that. Like there are those types of people that aren't approachable in a sense. Like I feel that's the thing. Like you had said as well, kind of your community is very much a reflection on yourself, and that's what I've. To be honest with you, I completely am on the same page, and I've always said that. It's like you look at, I always compare it, like for me, I look at, say, Mushu's community or Hollyworlds or my own or whoever, and then you compare it to something like, I don't know, some random big name streamer, the XQCs, the Summits, the whoever, right? And these types of people where they're they kind of they are the trolls, the memes, and the way they act and stuff, kind of like it's a reflection because you see how trolly and memey their own communities are, right? And then you look at someone like like Mushu, for example. She allows kind of like that kind of the joking and the memeing and stuff like that, but you can very much see one of the biggest things for her is building that community aspect and being able to interact and have conversations and connect with people at the same time. And that really shows in her community as well, because for me, like I've personally made a lot of connections and friendships and that through her community. And like I said, like even with Mushu herself, right? And even for myself, like that's kind of what I really enjoy is like the people that I've met that have come to my stream as well. It's like and I really get to know them, know who they are, where they're from. They like this game, they like to do this and stuff like that. And that's kind of, for me, it's like I completely agree. There are people who aren't approachable and don't realize that streaming is more than just being able to wreck at a game, kick some ass or whatever. But the biggest thing is like for streaming is you're entertaining a group, but you have this like ability to interact with people, right? Like, and that is for me, I feel like that's a big thing. And you see people who just don't do that, and you're just shaking your head like you're missing out on so much, I think.
Well, yeah, because as I've said a multitude of times, at the end of the day, we would be under the categorization of entertainment, no matter whether you do just chatting, no matter how connected you are with, I look at my, uh, my friends on Twitch as, another family.
Yeah,
And same thing with my community. But as far as what my classification would be, I mean, it would be entertainer, and what I think of when I would want to watch somebody as an entertainer, I would want to watch somebody that didn't, it's gonna sound so harsh, but we've got so many issues going on in the world right now that I am a big proponent of you know art in the form of escapism in terms of I would much rather read you know uh, rather than a current uh, government official autobiography. I would much rather read Tolkien or something,
yeah,
something where I can just because if I want to understand how deep the muck goes, so to speak, I'll turn on the news. you know,
yeah.
um,
And I completely agree with you on that. Like I'm gonna go back to I remember watching a YouTube video for League itself, or like some of the players in League or something like that, and they equated something about they're professionals, but they stream or they do this and they do that, and there's this idea of if you were a professional at like a regular sport, like I think it was like if you were a Tom Brady and you could stream to your fan base instead of being like you're play you go to you go play football every day and you throw you're the quarterback or whatever. But if like Tom Brady could stream and he'd just be like streaming his practices or his games or whatever at the same time and interact with the fan base, that would go another level. And it's like it's kind of the same thing here where you're entertaining, but you're entertainment in a sense, but you also have a chance to be more personable and interact. I think so that like for a pro player who like a for League or Overwatch or whatever, and still have a chance to sit down and play a game that we all love, and you'll be able to kind of be, oh yeah, here's like a little neat thing that not everyone, those lower tier players might not know, or just kind of be able to get to know the person on a more personal level, right? Like I think a lot of professional like esports players, very much so their personalities as well, because they stream and there's like things that they do outside of the professional scene that allows you to get to know them more than you would for your Tom Brady's, your LeBron James, your Sidney Crosby's and stuff like that. Like it's a different aspect which I feel like changes things a lot. Like you really can identify with the personalities instead of being like, this person can throw an amazing spiral or make like the most amazing deke. And for me it's like, the Twitch aspect of things, the interacting with community and actually being able to kind of get to know the personality and make jokes and stuff like that really is the difference there. And especially for the smaller streamers, like it I think is a big deal.
And you touched upon something that's kind of interesting because if you in a tacit way of kind of explaining it, the other thing is too, you mentioned like LeBron James or something. Well, we don't actually get to see LeBron James in most cases, or a person of oh, thank you so much for the follow, buddy, Professor Palpatine. I like that. By the way, did you know that Palpatine's first name is Shiv or Sheev? S H
What?
E Sheev. I didn't know he had a first name. I thought Palpatine.
I was going to say the same thing. I didn't know he had a first name to begin with.
Yeah. But yeah. So, but with somebody like LeBron James, we don't get to see LeBron James in most cases until LeBron James um is. I mean, unless he's just the most standout player of all time, which I'll be honest, I don't know the backstory of his career, so he might have been in high school and
I think he was the only person drafted to high school, actually.
yeah.
I think that's the story. Is like everyone's most basketball or NBA is drafted out of college,
Mhm.
and then LeBron was like 6 foot 12, whatever god tier basketball player or something, or at least I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Andrew just pulled a whatever you Americans use for the metric system into the metric system. Oh.
You're sorry, yeah, you're kind of like the I don't know if Discord is fucking up or something.
Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah, it might have been just cut out. Uh I was like you said 6'12". You're like, or whatever you guys use for instead of the metric system. Oh, hello.
Well, hello.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me? Can
I
you
can hear you. It's really like
let me
robotic.
let me leave and join again.
Weird.
Is that better? Hello?
Hello.
Yep. Is that better?
Hang on. Hello.
Yep. Is that better at all? Or
Let me try leaving and joining. Give me 1 sec.
okay. What about you all in chat? Is it sound weird in chat or to chat? You can hear me on. Well, he said he can hear me, but what about now?
Hello.
Hello?
You on?
Yep.
Okay, I think we should be okay right now. Hopefully.
All right. Hopefully, we can. All right. Well, if it messes up again, but everybody in the chat. Now he said he could hear me, but it was coming in robotic.
Oh yeah, it sounds really robotic. Okay, let me restart Discord. Let's see if that helps. Like it should only take a minute. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Jesus, what is going on with my?
All right. While he does that, though, I am gonna. The bunny is burning up. I will be right back. I am going to. Yeah, technical difficulty. I will be. I'm gonna turn on the air conditioner. Okay. Let me bring him back up. There we go. Hello.
Oh, there it is. Holy
Okay.
jeez, I don't know what happened,
Oh,
but
no, no, no. You're fine. You're fine.
we're good to go now. Hello.
No, no, that's okay. Technical difficulties, that they happen mostly in this stream. Uh, no, wait. Let's blame the ISP. Um, oh, hello.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here.
okay. I heard a thud, and then it cut out, and I was like, no. Like,
Oh, I
we,
pressed the mute button. I was talking to my mom there for a second.
I
She
got
just
you.
had something to ask, and then yeah.
I was like,
But yeah, no, we're fine. We're fine.
I was like, we were so close to having it work again.
We're
Um,
good.
no, but I was gonna say that in the case of somebody like LeBron, you don't a lot of times, and by a lot of times I mean very frequently, you do not really get to experience these players' beginnings, and people could say, "Oh, well, no, I saw them in college." Yeah, but that wasn't the beginning. You didn't get to, didn't get to see their high school games and have this long career of rooting them on. Whereas, when a Twitch streamer gets started, unless there's some, and I'm not discounting these people because it's a whole different uh, ball game. It's a whole different experience. And just because somebody is successful in this endeavor doesn't mean automatically that they'll be successful in another endeavor. And it doesn't even mean that that the success that they earn is attributed to their previous success. Um, but when you are a Twitch streamer, people get to connect with you from the ground up. They get to be your first stream. They get that founders badge. Whatever it is, they get to experience you from your humble origins in almost every case, and then they get to watch as you grow. Whatever your I don't say end result because you can always continue growing, but whatever your peak or where you wind up at for a while, they get to be a part of that from the very beginning. And I think that
Yeah.
that is a totally different experience. It reminds me of when I used to play poker. I mean, poker was the only sport where you could competitively play in a scenario with the pros. I mean, you could go to like golf charity events, you could go like what is it, do the 3-point shot with your favorite NBA player cheering you on from the side. But the reality is that in poker, like if you were in a tournament, especially a WSOP tournament with like a bracelet or something, which not everybody could participate, for instance, but those that could, you could be an amateur or a semi-pro or whatever, facing off against professional poker players. The guys that you saw, the guys and ladies that you saw, and oh, my bunny ears getting crooked. Always looks like I've been drinking. Um, I
Drunk bunny.
yeah, drunk bunny. I found Mr. McGregor's whiskey in his garden. Um, but you know, instead of just kind of sitting on the sidelines, the men and women of poker who were professionals, you could play against them, and they would be actively. I mean, they wanted to win. They were actively trying against you. It wasn't a charity
Hmm.
event. And then when I started streaming, that was kind of something that connected me too, because it was that same kind of feeling where you could have everybody in a lot of ways at an equal playing field. Because I mean, to me personally, I don't think there's any real distinction between. I mean, there's a numerical distinction, but as far as success and community build, I don't think there's any real distinction between somebody that would have like 100 average viewer count and somebody that would have like 200 average viewer count. Um,
No, no, I think I agree with you on that because I feel like it comes down like it says. I think the thing comes back to the personality and the streamer themselves because like there's I like ballparking like millions upon millions of streamers kind of thing, right? Like using Twitch or whatever platform, and then it's all about kind of for me at least, or for I know for a lot of people, is kind of finding the streamer that you vibe with, right? Because so much of streaming is sitting in front of a camera, being able to talk and joke and just kind of be entertaining, but also kind of like one person might have a style of jokes that you agree with or you find offensive or whatever, right? And it's like finding the right type of person kind of thing instead, and it really gives you that distinction where it's like this person who has X amount of viewers or followers or whatever with the person who's just starting out, but they have similar senses of humor, right? Then it's like, oh, okay, then if like recommended, I guess, like it's like, oh, this person has a similar sense of humor, so I'd recommend you try this person, right? They might not have the same view count or whatever, but they're still similar people. They still have the same humor or whatever the case may be, and that's really really shows, I think, because in streaming, I think, for at least I see anyway.
well, yeah, no, I completely agree, and I also think it's very interesting because there's so many ways if you want to, and not everybody takes advantage of them, and that's completely fine. But there's so many ways too for bigger streamers or up and coming, uh, growing streamers to still give back to the community and to those to not only their community but other communities as well, and to give back to people um, that might just be starting out, but that have been big supporters of theirs, through raids, hosts, subs.
Yeah,
There's so many ways for the bigger streamer, I guess, to still reconnect with their humble beginnings. And
and
oops, sorry, go ahead.
oh, so I was gonna say, like, that's for me is what kind of blows me away with Mushu for per se, because she does have she'll raid others, or she'll raid like some of her bigger streamers and stuff like that. But I've been a part of and seen her go off, and she's raid some groups of her stream team. Could be they're doing something for charity. They're doing they're celebrating their birthday. They're doing this. They're doing that, or whatever. But it's like, let's the person might be streaming for 5-10 people, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, you guys, this is someone who's part of my team, this is someone who's part of my community, because I think that's something she really wants to have in part with her stream team. And it's like, okay, let's go and share the love and share the support. And it's like, that is something that you don't see every day. And I've seen it with the group that I've been around, like the Mushus, the Hollies, and stuff like that. And there's a there are people like that who will share that love and support, and they've made it, and for whatever reason, right, there's no distinction, but they've come a long way in their streaming careers, and they want to kind of share the support and that, and it really is something, at least for the Mushu community, is something that I'm so happy, because I've seen whenever she raids someone or does this, you see the amount of like just you could hear that emotion, right? Or you see that emotion like when it happens, and there's like the follows or the this or that. It's really something to watch, to be honest. It's really cool.
Well, yeah, and I think it's because it's definitely an altruistic, or as close as you can get to an altruistic form of expression, because when you have 500, 800, 1,000 viewers average, and you raid somebody, for instance, that has 10, there's not really anything you have to gain from it, as far as like more advertising, more networking opportunities and all that. I mean, you are simply doing it because you want to make somebody's day, or show appreciation back to your community or for that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think that's incredible, and that's awesome. And I also want to clarify too. that as much as I love Mushu, there are other streamers who do this as well for their communities. Well, no, because I mean,
Yes.
I don't want to sit here and say that I've never seen another streamer do it for their communities. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, no.
yeah,
Like
I
I
have.
agree with you on that. I've seen there's more than one. It's just like in me, the most prevalent, the one that stands out because I've been a part of it. Right? Is Mushu, but I've there is definitely quite a few others. I know that.
Yeah, and and for me personally, like I've told people before, when I came back after taking my hiatus, I mean, Mushu and everybody would have been well within their right to say, well, hey, you haven't been here for, you know, 6 to 8 months or longer, however long it was. It was a very long time. Um, you got to start from ground zero, so to speak, with getting back into the community. But no, I mean, I was accepted like I hadn't been gone a day,
Mm-hmm.
and that was very touching for me because of all the stuff I'd gone through, and and I would have been fully understanding that just essentially, I mean, I make no bones about the situation, just essentially ghosting, by deleting my Twitch and stuff. But it's definitely a hell of an experience, and it's one of the most awesome experiences I've had coming to Twitch. And the thing I'm so thankful for too is having the opportunity to meet you all, because I've just it's not on one hand. I mean, I need both my hands and everybody in chat's hands, and to start counting all of the amazing people that I've met, and every day I meet somebody new who's amazing from that community.
Yeah.
Um, but what led you to to kind of have that conversation with getting onto the stream team? What made you decide to take that leap to
Like to ask to join the team, you mean? I guess.
yeah.
Actually, it was funny because like I said, like I had started streaming before Mushu had put together the stream team. I and like I this was at a point where like her and I would we talk quite a bit like personally and stuff, and we'd share things and stuff like that. Like I was very privileged enough to actually get to know herself and share and chat with her, and it was really it was funny because I think it was like a month or two before she even made the team. I'd started streaming, and then she told me at one point, "Oh, she has a big surprise," and she had shared it on stream. And I can remember, probably was at school or something at the time, but all of a sudden she messaged me, and I asked like I think I asked her like about her day and how was stream and this and that, and she's like, "Oh, the big," I asked her about the surprise, and she's like, "Oh, I'm doing a stream team thing." And one of the first that I one of the first things she said was, oh, like, oh, I definitely want you to be on the team. Like, it wasn't me. It was funny because it wasn't me going to her and being like, putting in an application almost. It was, I think when she had first announced it, one of the first that she just came out and said, well, I want you to be on the team, of course. And I was like, oh, okay, that would be awesome. And I'm thrilled that it happened. And I joined the team in that.
Yeah, it it's kind of funny because you always, in these situations, you build up in your head. You're like, okay, well, what do I say? What do I do? Do I, need to get out my full CV, my curriculum vitae, my resume, and the thing that I kind of want to impart from Andrew's story is that, it is, sometimes a nerve-wracking experience, whether it's hitting the go live button or asking to be on Stream Team, but if you really want to, just ask. The worst thing that can happen is, um, somebody will say no or not at this time. And
Yeah.
then, and you can always ask too, if you don't get accepted to a stream team, I don't think, whether it's Mushu's or whoever's, if it were me personally, I don't think it's out of the realm of, or out of line to say, well, may I ask, what I could do to get on, or what do you need me to do to show that I would um, that I would be a good investment, so to speak, to let on the team.
It's very much like a job interview in that way, even.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, because you can, if you don't get a job, sometimes, I mean, you obviously don't want to be confrontational about it, but you can always say if you don't get a job interview, say, okay, if they say, well, we're not looking for somebody at this time, you can kind of just be like, okay, well, whatever. But if they're like, well, we're not interested in your particular qualifications at this time, you can always say, well, what qualifications would you be looking for?
Yeah,
Um,
like I was taught that in school was, one of the things is like if you go to an interview or apply for a job and for whatever reason you don't get the job, you are more than welcome to call them up or ask, okay, is there something that you did that, like, on my resume, was it like this or that kind of thing, like what just made you make this decision, right? Like, and that it's very understandable, whether they shared or not is up to them, but it's still like that is something that we're actively told to do, is kind of make that effort so you can learn and you can change or you can grow and adapt to it.
yeah, exactly. And I think I cannot speak for Mushu and I cannot speak for any stream team leader or anybody else, but I know me personally, and Mama Yan holds this view too. It's where I got it from. Is that if you turned down somebody for a job offer or a promotion or whatever, and they're respectful and they say, well, I understand. I'll try back at a later time. Please keep me in mind. Um, that does sometimes pay off, and that they will keep you in mind, and to as they say, not to burn bridges. And but in particular, it speaks volumes about somebody that will say, okay, well, I completely understand, and I'll see you back in the stream or back in the community or whatever on Monday or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it speaks volumes of somebody as a person that they can, you know, somebody's maturity level, I should say, that they get turned down for a particular position, job offer, whatever, and then they're like, oh, okay, no worries whatsoever. Um, so yeah, definitely, if anybody's interested in applying to whether it's Mushu's team or any stream team in the future, if you're thinking about it, just keep that in mind that a no isn't necessarily in terms of you know community positions and all that stuff. It isn't. Oh, was the game not changed? I hate.
We're still playing Remnant, are we?
Yeah, it's the final boss, Andrew. Um,
I mean, hey, I'll take that. A final boss sounds pretty awesome.
yeah, raid
Sounds pretty badass.
raid boss down, raid boss down. Um, that remind. Well, I don't mean to get sidetracked, but that does remind me of I was playing League of Legends with a friend one time, and he was playing Shyvana,
Yep.
and he jumped in dragon form and killed like three or four people, and then the last person or last two people killed him. They just spammed in match chat, raid boss down, raid boss down. Um, so
That's funny.
yeah, because he was like 12-0 at the time. It was like he just jumped in and killed people.
Damn.
Yeah, just jumped in and killed people, and then they just killed him. Raid boss down.
We got him, boys.
um, but
That's funny.
yeah, so you know, it doesn't have to be just because you don't get something, an opportunity or a particular door closes, don't, because I know that it can be frustrating to not get on a stream team or to, go a month without raids or host or, that we always, as streamers, especially with so many of us suffering from mental health ailments, we always, cast doubt in what we're doing, but you really, really do have to give things time and patience. And, and there is a test of faith, if you will, in a lot of
Yeah.
what you're doing, and you just have to stay true to your character. Like I always said, I mean, and Nick was in chat and he mentioned it. When we and it's not a contest. It's just more of an amazing throwback. You say you went to Mushu's stream back when before she was partnering and she was at a average 100 viewers, and I think that's amazing because she went from uh, I mean, back when I remember, she went from 8 to 10, and then she went from 100 when you met her. And now she's at 800 to
Like five,
1,000.
six. Yeah.
You know, um, oh yeah, 500, 600, but one host or something, and she's up to 800, 1,000 for like the
Yep.
day. So and before too long, she'll be averaging up there in 1,000 and higher.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
mean her climb and everything has been incredible to watch, and for me, like I I I'm so ecstatic and happy to not only be a part of the community but also watch the community grow and watch her grow and stuff. It's really a cool experience.
oh yeah, for sure. When we kind of talked about this before we went live, and now that we're live, I don't want to, I don't want to put any pressure on you to talk about it if you don't want to, but
Yep.
we kind of alluded to, these mental health ailments like anxiety, depression, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, as a streamer, how important is it for you to, we talked about this the other day with Nar. How important is it for you to take these breaks, these resets, um, giving yourself
Um,
time?
it definitely is important. Like, I think one thing that not a lot of people do recognize or notice when it comes to say streaming and stuff like that. Like, I've gotten a hand to experience it when talking with Mushu, for example. But like, I think in general, not everyone recognizes that the streamer themselves, the person who is broadcasting, is a physical person, and they have their own life and their own feelings and issues and stuff like that. And I find that it can things in a chat and streams can drain you at times, and it can be very physically, well, not more mentally, but like physically mentally exhausting, and getting that getting the confidence and everything to hit the go live button and to do this, and especially for someone like myself who struggles with my own depression and stuff like that on a daily basis. There are times, and within the past like weeks and months and stuff, where I will take the day and I'll just be like, today's been one of those days, or a rough day or something, and it definitely really helps those breaks. And that, like, I've taken a day or a couple of days where I haven't been in the right mindset, I haven't been in the right mood, I've been something's happened throughout the day that's kind of altered how I've been feeling, and for that, I've being getting a chance to take that break and to go do something else, or just kind of do nothing almost, it helps quite a bit. And I'm also very fortunate where I have, like, a group of people who are very okay with that, and like they are very supportive to myself, and I'll get a DM or I'll get a message on Discord or whatever the case may be, where it's nothing but like kindness, positivity, and caring, and for me, that is very much reassurance that it's okay to take those breaks and to take that mindset and that refresh, because they understand, like, I am someone who deals with this, and as much as I enjoy sitting here and playing games and chatting and joking around with everyone, there's still that kind of that mental state of mind that sometimes it just kind of gets a little worn down and kind of needs the reset or kind of just a small break. And it definitely is very understated, I think. Like,
Well,
I was gonna say, like, I can look at it as like, I can remember, for example, like, I'm gonna keep using Mushu as an example just because she's probably one of the streamers I watch the most.
oh, that's fine. Yeah.
But like, I can remember her personally. She went on vacation for a couple weeks, like a month, like 3 4 weeks or something. And I can remember you could see she was a little bit stressed or something like that, whatever. Like, she was still herself, but like, she went away and she came back, and then, like, you could definitely see that change, right? Like, she had that break and vacation, and she came back and she had this like revitalized energy, right? Like that energy, that glow, that kind of like, it was a bit different. Like, she'd come back and I guess she was refreshed, right? And I think for anyone, that clearly, to me, that's like, well, that just shows for anyone, big or small, that that a break, even if it's like a vacation to something small, really goes a long way, I think, to helping yourself personally, and when you're streaming as well.
No, I think these mental resets and what I was talking about the other day, you don't want to be in a position where you you're like, okay, no, I'm going to keep pushing myself. I'm going to keep pushing myself, and then instead of needing a day off, a weekend off, a week off, you need 6 months off.
Yeah.
Um, you don't want to um, to put yourself in that position because it's no different than working out. One day you might be like, I think I tweaked my shoulder a little bit, and then you could be like, okay, well, I'll let it rest and let it heal on its own and see how it is. Or you can be like, all right, well, I'm going to go throw another 300 pounds on the bar and go ahead and lift this with one arm, and I'll show it. And then it turns out you won't show it; it'll show you. Um, so yeah, it's always important to take these resets and stuff, and how do you, if you are having a bad day, but you decide to stream anyways, like how do you prep yourself mentally? Is there type of ritual that you go through, or something that you do to, like I said, just kind of, guard yourself against, being too stressed out with, if the day is not, necessarily the best mental health day.
So for me, I found that like years ago when I was really struggling with my own depression, my mental health, and stuff like that, there was a lot of like when it came to bad mental health days, I choose to isolate it. I choose to do this or indulge myself in like snacks or whatever. Like that was my go to was, and it still is in a way. Is like food. Like I know people are like some people are like when they don't eat or when they get very depressed and very low state, right? They don't eat. They shy away from it. They forget meals, whatever. I'm the opposite, and I will eat, and then I will eat the shitty stuff. I go for like the chips and everything. And then like there was a time in my mental illness where that was kind of my rituals was doing that. And then as I've learned and as I've kind of grown, I guess I've become better at handling those things. And when there have been those days where it's like I've pushed myself to press the button or something and go live, and it's kind of I've had those rough days, I'm finding that I'm able to handle it more, especially when I'm like interacting with people and when it's the people that I enjoy and I like. And I'm fortunate enough where in my community, I've all these friendly faces, these welcoming, these kind faces. And for me, it's like, I can share. I'll be like, oh yeah, so I had a really shitty day at school, or I had a really, just today was not the greatest day, and I'll kind of, I've become a little bit more able to share that and talk about it. Like I won't go say, go into details, but I'll be like, yeah, today was a shitty day. This kind of, unfortunately happened or something. But at the same time, the community, then the people that are at my streams really help, I guess, my mind reset in a sense. Like there's nothing special that I think I do on stream. I kind of like I will myself and sit down, but the biggest thing is just being able to verbalize it and then sit there and interact with people. I think has been the biggest thing. Like I'm sitting there and I've got some amazing people that I'll joke and I'll chat and just be very very positive and supportive and it really helps. All of a sudden it's like, all right, now we're gonna play Overwatch or we're gonna play Spyro or something, and really just kind of get my mind off it, I guess. And that helps me in a sense. Like I whenever I stream, I have no ritual. I literally just kind of like 5 minutes before the stream starts, I'll turn on my PC or I'll go turn on OBS and everything, and I'll be like clicking around like this has to load, this has to load, and then when I finally sit down and I go live and I see someone in chat and that, or I see some friendly faces, I'll be like, yay, things are good, and it I think my mood really changes from that. More like I very much think I'm more of like a social person. I think where it's I feed off of other people's energy and stuff. So if it's you kind of leave me to my own devices and isolate myself, it's not going to be the same. But once I get a chance to kind of interact, my mood changes. So I think it's a two-way street almost. Like people come and hang out with me, and I can still hang out with them, and helps my mood as well.
I think yeah, I think I agree, not only 100% but 110% because from my own personal standpoint, I can't tell you how like when I'm having a bad day of depression myself, but I do decide to stream, the first fear is nobody's going to show up.
Yep.
And uh, then when somebody does show up, the fear immediately dissipates. I'm in a much better mood. But that's definitely something that carries over. But that first, it's not the go live switch that changes my mood. It's not necessarily the game I'm playing that changes my mood. Um, it's that first person showing up. And that's not to say that the second and third and fourth person and et cetera, they're obviously it just gets better and better and better. But there's just that you know um, relief. That oh, okay. I'm not in this alone per se.
Yep.
Yeah,
Very much so.
because they always tell you that little trick in theater, right? Look for the face in the crowd. Um, and which is
I
why
mean, I always heard the picture everyone naked or in their underwear or whatever it is, right? That good old adage.
I
But
I just
that
picture I just picture myself in a giant bunny suit, and it carries it carries over. Speaking of which, I just now noticed, I think my glasses are crooked. I know it sounds like a weird thing to be like in an interview, but anyways,
I
uh,
do that too. Don't worry. I noticed that'll be like, wait, are they crooked? What the
yeah,
hell?
yeah,
How'd that get there? Yeah.
yeah. What happened? Did I sleep on them? Was I reading? What happened? You know,
I know what you mean.
somebody just like, Jan, you're in a giant bunny suit. Why are you worried about your glasses? No, no, no. I sleep in the bunny suit. It's the glasses. Um, but so in building a community, what were kind of some of your goals when it um, came to streaming? I mean, we'll talk about future goals, of course, but like
Yep.
when you first started to stream, was it like I just want to get affiliate first, or I want to build a community, with like really really close friends. I want to make more friends. What were kind of like some of the key goals for you as a streamer starting out?
So it's funny because like I'm doing most of this by the seat of my pants. Like I'm just going with the flow, seeing what happens. And it wasn't until like I started actually getting like one or two viewers and then returning viewers and stuff like that, where it's like, I started to try and focus on some things. And for me, the aspect like I really enjoy about Twitch and the reason why I'm part of like a community of Mushu and a couple others and stuff like that is because of the community aspect, and that has been something that really means a lot to me, and even more so for myself who I struggle with my own depression and mental illness. Is that something like I kind of want to not be a like I want to be like a distraction or support in a sense. So for those people that really struggle, just coming into say my community and sitting and being positive, being being able to talk about those things or being able to distract yourself away from those things. So like when COVID was first starting and people were it's all you saw on TV. It's all you could talk about with like people could talk about outside, right? And then you'd come in and be like, you'd be sitting there wearing the bunny suit, or I'd be sitting there joking around playing Sekiro and fighting the boss for the zillionth time, right? And it'd be like, there'd be kind of a chance to distract and stuff like that and get away from those things. And that has been kind of my kind of my the thing I want to take away from get from their build. And even like there's that, and then the kind of that experience of just having fun and entertaining. Like it's even in my bio on my stream is like I came from the era, like I grew up where you had your buddies over and you'd all be sitting down, and you had like the N64 or the GameCube, the PlayStation or whatever, and you all had you had four controllers set up and you were playing Smash Bros, you were playing GoldenEye and stuff like that, and you were all just like sitting around playing the games together and joking around and laughing and hanging out. And for me, it was like that was such a fun experience, and I really wanted that experience where it was like, people came in, we'd sit down, we'd be casual, we'd chat, we'd laugh, and we joke. And that's more or less what I get. It's like, or more or less what I want is just to be able to sit there and laugh and joke and make fun of myself, make fun of others, and just kind of have fun with it. And that community vibe kind of thing. And that's kind of like what I want is still to be able to be, sit back, hang out with your buddies, and just joke around.
And
and for
uh,
I feel like it goes through, or at least I've been told it works. So
no, I think it goes through 100%. You were definitely one of the streamers that I always love to go and just lurk and relax. And there's something to be said about being able to relax in a stream. There's when you're on the last boss of Sekiro, I'm definitely rooting you on and emotionally invested. Um, don't worry, I die that many times in Remnant too. It's okay, and I've been putting so many hours into Remnant. It's not even funny, and I still die. One of my friends calls it remnants of the hairline, and I'm losing. Um, the
it's funny for Sekiro. Like
the ebbing baldness.
I I saw Mushu play it, and then I can remember she played it once, and that was it, never going back. And I was like, it seems really interesting. I'm not this amazing gamer. I haven't played many of those style of games. And then I was just like, I do want to try it. Like I'm itching to try it. So I tried it. I knew going in it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to test myself and that. But like despite me getting killed a million times over or flipping out or whatever, I think I raged once or twice, but it was like overall I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the experience, and I enjoyed sharing that experience with my community, because it was like back in the day when you had your friends over, and your friends were, you're all trying to figure out how to beat that one boss, or you're trying to figure out how to get to the next area or something. And it was like, I had people who were showing up and were giving me tips, or trying to give me tips, or would just kind of be like joking around, like, "Oh, he died again," or this or that. And it's like a meme in my community came out of that thing, where I'm with Sekiro and Dark Souls and those types of games. One of the big things is like when you aggro someone, right? Like you're trying to be sneaky, and then you aggro an enemy. And if you aggro a bunch of enemies, well, all of a sudden everything gets a lot harder.
Right.
And so my community has memed this thing where I have a command called the village command on my stream, where it's whenever I'm running around, somehow, some way, I seem to aggro everything. So like there's a village in, like, there's this one village or something, and I'm hiding on a roof, or I'm walking around trying to be sneaky, trying to aggro one person to fight them, and then move on to the next one. It's like, okay, no, now here's his buddy and his other buddy and like 20 other dudes. I'm like,
The
well,
whole
it
family.
happened.
Yeah.
It happened again. Yeah, and then I move on to the next game after Sekiro was Dishonored, and Dishonored series is a series built on stealth, but you can play it like more of an aggressive shooty style as well. And the command just carried over, and it was just like, oh, I've aggroed everyone again, and it just keeps going. It was just kind of like, to me, that all brought it back to, you're sitting in your basement with your buddies, you're playing, you're trying to beat the next boss, and you're just joking around and memeing, and it was just that kind of thing. Like I like Sekiro, right? It's a game that's gonna test your patience, but I did it, and I enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the game actually, and I enjoyed the community. They had a good time, and I had a good time, and it was a great experience.
Well, and that's, it's always funny to me because you have people, and I don't want to say they're out of touch, but they're out of touch, um, who will say, oh, I don't understand why people, I'm looking at you, Jimmy Kimmel, who will say, like, I don't understand why, what the appeal of streamers, why don't you play the video game yourself or all that stuff. Well, it's no different than, parents who take their kids to see, this generation of Star Wars movies. They
Yeah,
want their child to experience, and I'm not being patronizing by calling, viewers children per se, or by calling the streamers children, but they want they want their loved ones to experience the nostalgia that they experienced as a kid. And so it's something that you can kind of like bridge the gap between the generations. You can kind of connect with. Like, I love Star Wars because I grew up with it. Now, hopefully you can love Star Wars because you're going to grow up with it, right? And if there wasn't some truth to that, then we wouldn't be having. I mean, yeah, the Avenger movies were awesome, but they've also been around. I mean, I think like the original um, Infinity Wars was like in the 90s or something. So I mean, they've been around for that particular storyline has been around for a long time, and there's a lot of people who went to see this movie who grew up with the comics in which it,
Yeah.
it got featured. So, that's one of the things of connecting with streamers and stuff like that. Like, harkens back to what we were talking about with you've experienced it. Now you get to, have that connection of other people experiencing it, and anything that promotes empathy and sympathy in people, and having that connection, I think is invaluable. So there are definitely negatives to Twitch. We've seen them. You and I
Yeah.
both seen them. As a streamer, as a viewer, as part of the same community, you know, stream team. Um, Currently with the issue that's going on right now, but uh, it's there's so much good that can be had out of it. I definitely don't want people to underestimate the value in it, for sake of focusing on the negativity, right?
Oh, I really agree, and like that's the thing is, there is that negative, and like I've gotten a chance to get to know, some really amazing people through the Mushu clan and through streaming and stuff like that, and it's been really time to see. Like for me, as I've dealt with my own mental illness and stuff, and like I still struggle with it, right? And I still, I try to go to see someone or talk to someone or go to a doctor or this or that. But like I still, like I've seen people, and I know a lot of people even now who in their own way, they, they have those struggles or those low points or something, and they're just not feeling it. And for me, it's like I will always try to be one of those first people that'll, kind of just say, hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you? What's up? How you feeling? And just kind of talk to that person. There have been a few people where it's like, I will, check in or try to have a conversation with, or and it could be about streaming, it could just be about, mental illness or the depression or anxiety or whatever the case may be. But it's like, just try to support and be positive. Like I think most recently there was a friend of mine, who I was talking with, and they were, they were having their low days with themselves and kind of just having a tough time dealing with a lot that was going on. And it's just, I was there to, I was there to ask, how's it going, and let them kind of share and vent. But not only that, but more also, try to be sensible and help with some clarity and stuff. And for me, that, that happened to me as well, where it's like I went to a group or something, and I sat down with people, and I was able to kind of share and vent, and then someone was able to give me feedback or share and kind of, give me their opinion and their ideas and their thoughts on the matters and stuff like that. And I felt like that really helped me in a way, and I kind of want to have that ability too. And especially when it comes to streaming and stuff, if someone, needs someone to talk to, I'm okay with that. If, there's someone who's part of the community or something, or part of my community or the Mushu community, or I know or something, and they're having a rough time, and it's like, I understand that Twitch has these dark sides or these these bad sides and stuff, but for me, it's like at this overall, I just want at least my little small piece of Twitch in a sense to be kind of that positive section, or that like that that comfortable section where it's, I'll distract you, I'll make you laugh, I'll tell you stupid jokes, I'll be, I'll try to at least, if you want to share, we can, we talk privately or whatever the case would be, and try to just be that positiveness, because I've dealt with that, and I've like, I know what these people are saying, and I want to, at least help in a sense,
Right.
and give like a little bit of help. And especially like Twitch has those darker sides, and the situations and stuff. I feel like, at least being able to be that positive voice, or at least just give a person someone to talk to or listen, or have someone who is able to listen, I think is a big thing, and for me at least in my opinion.
Well, I would even go a step further. I would say that it's not just a big thing; it's an invaluable thing. I mean, I was talking about this with Nard, but um, doctors do wonderful things, and I will always tell people that when it comes to issues with depression, anxiety, that in every way, shape, or form, it behooves you to try and find somebody, a healthcare professional that can work with your needs and what you're looking for, you know. And I know a lot of people said,
Mhm.
"Well, I tried it and it didn't work." Well, I tried a lot of stuff for the longest time and it didn't work either. And then it turns out that it's because the I was being treated for depression and anxiety, which I do have, but they're directly attributable to OCD. So it's a whole different thing, you know, both chemically and in terms of treatment. You know, you typically would go
Yep.
through cognitive behavioral therapy. And so once I found somebody that did that stuff, then it was okay, all of a sudden this stuff does work. You know, it's like, um, you know, losing weight and controlling your weight is one of the go to not just recommendations, but lifestyle changes you have to make for something like diabetes. But if you have diabetes and you're still not getting insulin, it's not really going to, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you still have to find the appropriate treatment. But what Nara and I were talking about is that it's the combination of the professional help that you can get, but also too, it is not the doctor's job, nor would I want it to be the doctor's job to, you know, be there once the, you know, the therapy ends. Because I don't know if people can relate to this sentiment, but sometimes, you know, you need a break from treatment. Because, you know, I'm not advocating anybody else to do that. I'm talking about my own personal, but you know, sometimes it's like, you know, I have just, you know, bawled my eyes out for an hour talking about past incidences or trauma, and I'm not going to do this again tomorrow. Like I'll see you in, you know, 2 or 3 weeks. Um,
Yeah.
and uh, you know, it's like breaking away scar tissue for the soul. You know, you can't do it over and over and over again. You have to give yourself a chance to heal. But it's one of those things where having friends to talk to and communicate with, it's not your friends, it's not in their scope or jurisdiction to treat you, but it's also not in the doctor's scope or jurisdiction to be there as a healthy network, um, you know, to help relate to you, you know, as you're going through it. They might relate to you in the office, you know, and that's part of an empathetic practice, but you know, they can't follow you around, you know, 24
Yeah.
7 or check up on you at random 2 a.m. on a Saturday. So, no, I think, you know, offering to reach out to people and all that stuff is one of the things that makes you such an amazing person. Um, but I also think that, you know, it's also one of the things that makes you, you know, relatable from my standpoint because, you know, I try to do the same thing to the best of my ability. You know, I want people to know that my DMs are always open, and you know, uh, I mean, this is early for me. You know, we're not 2 a.m., so you know, I'm still waking up. No, but you know, this is not normally. I mean, I'm normally screaming at the ultimate degenerate hours at like 4 in the morning. But
Mhm.
um, you know, this is just because I don't, you know, answer right away. You know, I'd still wanna connect with people. But I think that it's awesome that you reach out to people like that, and that you know you open up your DMs to people, so that you know you can connect and you know, and just be there for people. I think that's
It.
amazing.
I thank you. It's funny because like for me, I feel like you kind of touched on like one or two things. Like I looked at it as this is something I had said for quite a while was with the mental health thing and with like finding out what you deal with or what you struggle with and going to doctors and stuff like that or going to whatever treatment in a sense it's more of a like the old like adage of throwing throwing the noodles or the food or whatever at the wall or whatever it is and seeing
Yeah,
what sticks,
yeah.
right? Like seeing what holds, I guess.
Spaghetti on the
And then
ceiling.
yeah. And okay, so you know what I mean. And it's
Yeah,
kind of like the idea of you could go to one doctor and they'll say this, you go to another doctor and they'll say this, or you'll go to you'll go to a one-on-one thing, you'll go to CBT, you'll go to this, you go to that, and it's like you'll find the treatments that'll work for you, whether it's it's a combination of like a multitude of things, but at the end of the day, like the doctors and that are there to really identify the problem because one, you might have an issue figuring out what's going on yourself, but also you might not be sure of the problem, so the doctors are there to clarify and to figure out what happened. And then in the end it was like the other part is that whole thing, that aspect of being able to talk in an event, and for me it's like, I find that I in my own personal aspects is, one of the things that I really struggled with was that social interaction, and that, so being social and making those connections with people. And then when I have had those connections, I really want to, make, strive to, care for them and help those people and stuff like that. And even more so now that, like, I'm part of a community and stuff like that, and I've gotten a chance to get to know people, and I know that some people have, certain, may struggle with something or may have bad days, and I want to, help be a part of the, making a, be positive, and helping with their mood, or just helping them in some way. So there have been times where it's like, I will just kind of see someone make a comment in their, in Discord or in Twitch or something, and be like, oh, it's just been a rough day or something, and I'll just be, I'll just kind of, if I at least know who the person is, if it's not like some random or something, it'll be, I'll just kind of, maybe go in and say, hey, how's it going? Or I'll be like, someone is, I'll just kind of preference that someone is actively able to, come and say something to me if they really need or whatever. Like, case in point, one of the another part of the, excuse me, the Twitch team, Sleepy, right? Sleepy Bear. She's, like, I've talked, like, I talk to her all the time, just like joking around, and we play games and stuff. One of the things is like, she made a comment once where, she deals with her own issues, and she'll forget to take her meds or something when she gets up or whatever the case. And it's like, I try to be a nice guy, and I'll just kind of jokingly be like, hey, Sleepy, take your drugs, or don't forget the drugs or something. Or it's like, it's a meme where I'll be like, did you remember to get your drugs, right? I don't even say medication or meds or anti this, anti that. It's just like, did you do the drugs today? Did you take the drugs? Do you remember the drugs, right? Like, jokingly. And it's like, even if it's a little thing, just joking around, and it's kind of, just being supportive and helping. And if someone ever, per se wants to, share, oh, this happened, or they feel comfortable enough to share that, then I mean, okay, I really don't mind. I've this it worked for me, where it's, when I got to talk to someone and share those, what was going on in my head, or what had happened that is affecting me a certain way, getting a chance to, listen and provide some sensibility, I think helped quite a bit. And, for me, it's like, I want to try and do that at least for other people, at least,
It
if I can.
reminds me of the opening. I don't know why. It just reminds me of the opening of We Happy Few. Have
I
you?
actually have that game still. I want to play it.
Oh, you haven't played it?
I have it. It reminds me. It looks a lot like Bioshock. It reminds
Yes.
me so much of
Yeah.
like that style.
No, yeah, that's a very fair comparison. I would definitely recommend putting it in the queue. Because we're all gonna be, let's be honest here, we're all gonna be playing Cyberpunk if it eventually
I
comes
think
out.
so. I think, once I figure out like money and everything like that, Cyberpunk, and there's a few games that I have queued up, and people are like, oh yeah, you got to play this, you got to try this. I mean, just recently, what is that, like, technical beta hyperscape thing that recently came out, right? That everyone was playing on Twitch.
Yeah, we
And
call it FPS jump pad. Um,
yeah, FPS jump pad, and I got a key for that, and so it's like I've been playing it with a few people, and I'm loving it. And it's like there are games that I know everyone's trying and playing, and it's like, yeah, all these big games that are going to be coming out soon. I want to give it a try, and I know, like, The Last of Us just came out, and I remember watching, like, Fury and Holly and a few others play that, and it was really just a joy to watch, and so entertaining. And just like, I know, for me per se, like, I haven't played it, but I have, like, but to see other people play it, and just kind of, it was a new game, it was really interesting and stuff. And there's a lot of games that are going to be coming out, and with the way we are now, it's like, with the state of the world, one of the biggest things is going to be, well, I might as well, sit and stream, or I could stream and just play a game and hang out with people. There's that.
yeah,
And so, like, a lot of upcoming games, that's a really good opportunity to do it.
yeah. I mean, I think that it's also interesting to kind of break it down because you're touching upon it in a way, but the games that we play also are kind of a reflection of the mood that we're in. Like sometimes I'm like, you know what? I was playing Remnant. I'm just gonna calm down, and then other days I'm like, I'm gonna play no, but no, yeah, it's all played house. But no, like there are days where I'm like, I just want to play like Longest Dark or something like that, just a really chill. I say that, well, one, no pun intended, because you're literally in the Arctic, but number two, you're trying not to freeze to death, so it's not really that chill. Like there's supposed to be immediate panic, and I'm just kind of like, I'll find firewood eventually. Um, but um,
Yeah, I
uh,
mean,
it's funny what what our reflects our moods per se.
I think that is very much so. Like the games that you play and you know really shows that. And I think for me, like for the longest time, Overwatch has its own kind of you know way to the way it affects you and the mood and everything that you have to be in. But I think for me, the games that I've played, I looked back, it was like I played Final Fantasy X, then I did Sekiro, then I did Dishonored, and a bunch of these games are they deal with some pretty like intense topics and talk about some different things. So I was like, you know what, maybe it's time I just kind of play some, go with the nostalgia and I try Sekiro, or not Sekiro, Spyro, and I personally didn't actually get a chance growing up to play Spyro. I was a Nintendo kid instead of a Sony kid, so for me it's like it's a new experience, and I am just enjoying having fun playing this very very casual entertaining game, and for others it's like, oh my god, the nostalgia and everything, and it's like this is really fun because you look at Sekiro or Dishonored or something, and the colors and everything about it is just dark and bleak, and then Spyro is like bright colors and bad jokes and just
And Elijah
over the
Wood.
top enemies. Yeah, like Elijah Wood, and just like really entertaining jokes, and the character, all the characters have really funny personalities and stuff, and it's like, that's kind of where I'm feeling, just kind of want to enjoy it and laugh and hang out. And that's kind of it definitely is, how my mood is, and kind of just have a very light, I guess, light, easy, not like super easy, but like just a lighter type of game, nothing to weigh on you kind of thing. And Spyro has done just that. And I mean, I could, who knows, I'll go do Crash Bandicoot or something next. Like keep that trend going. Just play, the nostalgic light games, I guess,
I
versus something else.
I wholly um, condone that, and I always think it's funny to point out to people, be like, uh, I forget who it was the other. I think was it Star? It might have been somebody the other day that was playing The Last of Us, and I was like, and just for reference, after this, you should go play Crash Bandicoot because they're made by the same company.
Yep.
So so go cry your eyes out in The Last of Us, and then go play Crash Bandicoot and realize that they're made by the same company. In fact, and I think it was in Uncharted 4. Um, the console actually has, you can play Crash Bandicoot on the console. At what point that your games have fully evolved, um, is when you're playing old games in your new games. Like hey, here's Pac-Man in all of its entirety, and you can get to like max level or whatever, or the highest level in the game possible. Um, but you're actually playing like Metro Exodus or something like that. It's not in Metro, but it's always kind of funny how they intertwine that stuff. They had was it like full segments of movies? I believe it was in um oh god, what was the name of that game you play? It was based on a comic book. The Darkness. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, they had full scenes of like these old 1950s movies on like playing on the televisions and stuff. It was kind of, you know, which kind of gave it like a Max Payne feel almost. There's a
When you
throwback.
said like comics and stuff, that's what I was thinking was Max Payne. To be honest with you.
Yeah, kind of a throwback. Looking at you, Mark Wahlberg. Um, everybody forgets Marky Mark, but I didn't forget that and The Happening. You know, I love Mark Wahlberg, but God bless.
Oh, are you talking about his Max Payne movie?
Yeah, we need to we need to talk about some of the
Oh
stuff that he's
my
done.
god, dude! Okay, I fully remember seeing the trailers for it, and I was like, okay, there's some supernatural element to this movie, or there's something, and it
Drugs.
turned. Yeah, it's just drugs, and you're just like, what was the whole point of like any of this is what they're showing, and there was just all this. It was just really bad, and it was just like that. Why? Like, what is the whole point of this nonsense? It is. I remember watching that. It's like I know the Max Payne games are huge, right? And it's like, really, this is what it is. Like, the movie was terrible,
Yeah.
and that's
Well.
all I'm thinking now is like video game movies and just thinking of like all the ones that well, I've had this conversation before where it's like, can you name a video game movie that you actually thought was good?
Yes.
Like they're talking about like coming out with The Last of Us the movie soon.
That would be a terrible idea.
Yep.
But I can I can actually name um uh two video game movies that I thought were decent. So,
Okay.
number
Go
one,
for it.
Mortal Kombat,
Which one?
the very first one, the like
The
1991 movie or whatever it was. I didn't
let
see
me
it. I
see.
didn't see it
I
until later, but
Yeah, I think I want to say I'm pretty sure it was on TV because I'm pretty sure I
it's on
remember watching.
Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
It was on
Okay,
Netflix or Hulu or something. It was on one of those channels because I watched it recently.
and it's the one with like uh Johnny Cage and Liu Kang
Yeah,
and
and a lot of the actors at the time were pretty successful because the guy that played Liu Kang was Mowgli in the Jungle Book, the first live action uh, Jungle Book, and then um, the guy that played Raiden was uh, what was his name? It was Christopher something. I can't. But
oh,
he
Chris Lambert, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Lambert. Yeah, he was Duncan MacLeod. He was the Highlander.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember seeing this on
had
yeah, it
a
was on TV.
had
Mortal
a
Kombat was on TV all the time.
had an amazing voice. Actually, what's so funny is I didn't know this. I saw this recently. Kano was not Australian until the actor played him. Or until the actor who played him did such a great job that they made him Australian henceforth. But he was not originally Australian. And you know, it's
Wow.
kind of funny because I always wondered about that. But yeah, he yeah he wasn't he wasn't Australian. And actually, by the way, I want to say something. If we're counting on a technicality, if we are counting movies, the Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat shorts, the little short films that were on YouTube,
Yeah, okay.
were actually pretty good too.
I'll give you that. Those were actually really well done, yeah.
So of all the things, Mortal Kombat holds the highest rating in video games. So we're not off to a roaring start, but you know, and now is where I troll the shit out of you and say the Mario movies. But no,
I
honestly,
was I just say, kid, bye Jan,
yeah,
bye. Don't trust you anymore.
yeah,
Nope.
you're
I don't believe if you actually said you enjoyed that movie thoroughly and thought it was like it was a really good movie. I've seen the Mario movie and it's something.
yeah, yeah, definitely not a fan. Now, now, hear me out. I did actually like. I didn't find it scary or anything, but I did actually like the first Silent Hill film. I didn't think.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think it wasn't necessarily that the script was good, but I
Yep.
think that they did a really good job with the makeup and effects. And I think that you know for what it was, um, And I mean, they had an immediate they had to play from a deficit immediately because Yuri Boll was directing it. So, did you know that he like fights people that gives him bad reviews? Like he's
Wait,
like
like what?
no, like he's like a veteran amateur boxer or something. Like he's like got like 35 years boxing experience or some shit. So like yeah, he's like challenged people that gave him bad reviews to like step in the ring and just like beat the crap out of them. Um
I did not know that.
yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah.
a new one.
I mean, it's not going to change my opinion with, maybe he can beat me up, but with my dying breath, I'm still going to be like Blood Rain sucks. So
Yeah.
it's not really going to, I mean, this is the hill upon which I die, I guess. You're gonna have to fight me, dude. Um, but yeah, he just terrible director. But anyways, but it's not always his fault. I mean, you work with what you're given, and video game movies are notoriously hard because you're missing the key components of interactivity. But you're also missing, it's just like with books, right?
Yeah.
You can take a 200-page book and you can turn it into a story that's very comparable to the original novel. But God help you, some of these people take these, you know, uh, 600-page books and they try to turn them into an hour, 20-minute, made-for-TV movie special, and it does not work at all. You know.
I say the same thing about when they try to they try to do video games, they try to do animation like anime, cartoons, and comic books, graphic novels, things like that, where they try to take it and turn it into a movie or a TV show or something, and then you're sitting there pulling your hair out, being like, you've completely missed it, like you've completely missed things, and like there are certain times where it's like you can look at for me, it's like one of the movies that's in my head is the Ghost in the Shell movie. The Ghost, like the live action one, they did so much right, and then the story and that and everything kind of I felt like missed a mark. And it happens all the time with video game movies. You see all the Resident Evil movies, Silent Hill, Max Payne. They've done how many Hitman movies? Need for Speed had a movie. The Prince of Persia had a movie, and you're
we
like,
we
you
don't talk about that.
you take these like beloved characters, and like I fully feel like they could adapt a lot of these things into really good stories and really good movies or TV shows. But I think a lot of people they take it, they miss the mark, or they leave out, or kind of don't write it in a certain way. Assassin's Creed, the movie,
Which, by the
stuff like
way,
that.
look. I realize that they have to get actors and I love Michael Fassbender, so it's not anything against him, but I like, I know that they need to get some big name clout behind some of these, but like seriously, we have Jake Gyllenhaal. We gave him a tan and said he was Persian,
Yep,
and then we had Michael Fassbender who played Altair, who was Iranian, I
I think
believe.
so.
Yeah, I mean that would have been where. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think that was where. So I mean, it was. It's just one of those things where like, look, I realize you are trying to put some like big names behind this, but also, I realize like the original, I mean, there was more. Hang on, I think. I mean, I just remember back to Bob Hoskins being Mario. You know, th-
And John Leguizamo as Luigi.
yeah, there was more authenticity in that, I think, than you know. um,
Yep.
and it's every time I look him up, I'm like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I also think that that with video game movies, we also need to going forward, we need to um, just understand that it's its own medium and be happy with, Not everything has to be converted to an hour, hour and a half, 2 hour summary. And
Well, I'm just looking at like a list of video game movies. And to me, I'm looking at as like you look at some of the names that they have here. They have the Hitmans, they have the Max Payne, Street Fighter, Resident Evil. So the games that they're picking, I feel like are more, they're built around. They have some interesting stories, but they're more built around like the gameplay, the action, the aesthetic, right? So like for Hitman, right? This idea of you're a hitman that's trying to like you have all these creative ways to murder people and so on and so forth, and then they try to build this story out of it when the whole idea for the game was this kind of aesthetic. Things like Need for Speed, right? The whole idea for the Need for Speed games is just you get to race really cool cars and really fast cars and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh yeah, let's build a story out of it. And it's like, the Resident Evil series, there are a bunch of just action movies and stuff, right? And it's like, well, you could have some really good games that have amazing stories and try to tell those stories, or retell those stories, and then you don't. You just choose Resident Evil, Assassin's Creed, Need for Speed, Silent Hill, right? Like they try to pull stories and movies out of like the games that elements might not have been fully the story, but more on the jump scare or the really nice cars. Like I feel like I said this before. So I feel like Sekiro, that would make a really cool movie. The visual, the visual visually, the game itself looked stunning. It was a really beautiful game, and I feel like it told such an interesting story that I could see that being like a cool, you know samurai flick. Like that would be really cool. Or I mean, Prince of Persia, they could have told a better story, but there's it to me, it's like you're picking games, and you're not, you're picking the games that main focus is in the story. You're trying to build a story out of something like a Mortal Kombat, which is strictly a fighting game, or Street Fighter, Double Dragon, right? All these things were movies too, and it's just why? Like I feel like you need something a little bit more richer with a really good story. I think would be good to make a movie out of, but I'm not gonna lie, I still kind of feel like they missed the mark. To be honest with you.
yeah, I mean, yeah, Hollywood's current ongoing theme is missing the mark. Um,
Yeah,
and a lot of what they're doing now is they're just lazily rehashing things from 50, 60 years ago, like the story of like Casablanca, for instance. That
yeah.
I said that I said this once, and I stand by this. Most people without ever dude detective oh wait, yeah, Detective Pikachu, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was actually good. Yeah, video game
Detective
movie.
Pikachu. Yeah, Detective Pikachu. I did like.
I haven't seen the
Sonic.
Sonic movie.
It's not bad. It's good, but it's not bad. I don't think it'd be like
the
really good.
the Sonic the Alex Jones Sonic conspiracy about how like they originally like had it look the way that it came out all along, and they just did that terrible like to get to build up drama around it so they could immediately
Yeah,
change it back. Be like, no. See, we listen to the fans. Like, um,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it seems like a Hollywood tactic, to be honest with you.
yeah. Um, but it's just always funny when things coming from Alex Jones. Um, this is the guy doesn't have a tinfoil hat. He's got a tinfoil padded room. But uh, when you compare it to the other video game movies, Sonic is high up there. Richard, I'll see it eventually. I just haven't seen it.
I mean, he does make a good point. Compared to the list of video game movies, Sonic's probably one of the better ones.
Yeah,
It definitely didn't need a movie. Like that's the other thing, is they take games that don't need movies, or like just why, right? Like I understand they're really popular, but did we really need Mortal Kombat movies? One, and it had a second one. Did we need Silent Hill? It was a horror game, but did we need that one? Did we need, did Blood Rain and Dead or Alive or Hitman really need movies.
God, I forgot Dead or Alive had a movie.
Yep, I
Uh,
know, right? And if they basically took like every young hot actor they could find and was like, let's put you in a movie.
oh, huh.
Have you have you not seen it?
No, I haven't. And
It's
you
so
you basically
bad.
just described the theory of American Pie.
It's true though. No, okay. So the
Tekken had
cast
a
for the
movie. Jesus,
yeah, Tekken had a movie.
was
He's right.
was the panda in it?
Oh God. I mean, I'm thinking like King was in it and stuff like that. But even think about it, like Avatar, right? The Last Airbender had a movie. Dragon Ball had a movie.
No, it didn't.
Okay, like
The no, it didn't. We don't talk about that.
we don't talk about these things.
Yeah, we
That's
don't.
what I mean. It's like you think about these things that actually had movies, and it's just like, did they need a movie? You don't need to make it into a movie.
Dude,
And to me, like I keep going back to Ghost in the Shell, and like it's a fairly recent movie, and I know there was a whole bunch of drama with the main actress playing the major and everything.
right.
And for me, it's like it was a step in the right direction where the aesthetic of Neo Tokyo and the story, or like the aesthetic of like the visuals and some of the actors and the characters themselves really were well done. Like I would have believed that they saw what they saw in the original Ghost in the Shell and then they brought it into the live action. It reminded me of like of what's the Harrison Ford movie, the where he's like living in the future with the androids.
Oh,
Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
Essentially, it's like kind of like that aesthetic for the Ghost in the Shell movie, and like it looked amazing, and
Okay.
the effects and the visuals were very well done, and I'm like, okay, this could make a good movie, and then you see the story, and it's like, you kind of lost track, or you didn't really, you tried to, I don't know, humanize or take a Ghost in the Shell, which deals with like very interesting topics, and then kind of change it to something else, and you forget a lot of key factors, and that's for me. It's like that's what happens when they try to adapt a lot of things: comic books, movies, or like comic books, video games, animations. They miss the mark, or they forget those key aspects that made the story or what they were trying to tell with those stories, and just kind of turn into another Dead or Alive or another Tekken or Mortal Kombat, and just make it look cool
Yeah, and
almost.
exactly. And a lot of times they just don't take input from the original author, and they'll say things like, "Oh, well, their views and direction or whatever are antiquated," or well, then don't do it. Like, because if you're not
Yeah,
going to take any input, I mean, you don't have to. They're not. They shouldn't be necessarily the end all be all, but you don't have to. Um, okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. For instance, one of the prime examples, and thankfully they didn't do it, and it doesn't. I don't think it's ever going to come to fruition now, but thank God that they didn't do Akira um,
oh
live
yeah,
action. Live action because they were going to do it. There were rumors they were going to do it with Leonardo DiCaprio, or whatever. But they were talking about doing it in Neo New York. So you're,
okay,
yeah, the whole, and the whole premise is about, Hiroshima and the bomb and all that stuff, start. So I mean, you're losing the entire backstory. You're changing
yep,
the entire aesthetic, and then they're like, well, we're just going to make it more quote unquote relatable. Well, no, well, one, you're insulting your audience. Number two, because if you can't sit there and say that, you know, films from other nationalities are not relatable when one of the most successful filmmakers of all time is Hideo Miyazaki. Um,
yeah,
and you've had Akira Kurosawa who which I don't want to go on a rant, but I take umbrage with so much of that stuff where like because I was watching Yojimbo the other day. And one of the most amazing films ever, if you've ever seen it. But they literally remade it into a fistful of dollars. And then, the Seven Samurai was made into the Magnificent Seven.
yep,
And they take all these films and they're like, well, we're gonna take the story, but we're gonna make it quote unquote more relatable, which is almost always code for we don't trust our audiences to make a rational decision when it comes to, I don't know. As somebody who has a literature degree, I can be a little pretentious when it comes to stuff like that because I just, I think things need to be developed in the historical context, but I think that, you know, you either need to trust your audience that they can handle something with a mature development, or they don't watch it. you know,
Yeah.
that's just kind of my opinion. Um, but that's a rant for another day and 24 hours. Um, sorry. But I did wanna kind of keep things moving with
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, so going forward, like, do you have any plans with the stream? I know you said you're kind of flying by the seat of your
Sit in
pants,
my pen.
but I didn't know if you had any goals that you were trying to reach or.
Personally, like I really do enjoy streaming. It wasn't like I said, like streaming was never something that I really want to like. I really ever gave any thought to until within this past year. And for me, it's like I have found and I enjoy it. As my honestly, my goal is to maybe just grow, like as I guess obvious as it sounds. Like I just want to, like I don't want to end up having streaming become a career. I think like I've spent like years struggling to go to school and study and to do this, and I really enjoy what I want to do, and I want to go into the working world and stuff like that. But I also I want to kind of grow a community and have like a small community of anything where it's I have people that are very that I see and are very comfortable interacting with each other in a sense, and it's like I there is a like another community outside of the Mushu community who I kind of like in my mind I use as a good example because um, I'm a part of their community, and the this person's been streams to about maybe 100 or viewers or so, but it's really good because like they seem very much like they play what they want to play, and they have these really good conversations, and they are really close with everyone, and for me that's what I want to have is like not millions of people or thousands of viewers, but it's more viewers that you're consistently like I'm getting to know and connect with, and for me that's been a really interesting aspect where at the end of the day I could go to work or go do this, go do that, and I'll come down and I'll sit down, and for me for streaming it's like at the same time it's about me being able to sit back and relax and enjoy myself and play a game and hang out and chat and joke around, right? So like that's for me that's what I want the most, is being able to sit back and joke around and just kind of grow the community a little bit, like not grow to this substantial amount, but just find very I guess like people that I could connect with, I think.
No,
And
uh,
other than that, I'm just having fun with it.
yeah, and I've made I've not hidden at all the fact that I would love to become a professional streamer, but at the same time, you know, you you want to have an emotional investment, but you gotta, in my opinion, you gotta direct where the emotional investment is. You can't tether it to the numbers, the views, the subs, the whatever. It's
Yeah,
got to be in having fun with your community, building a good connection with everybody, and that.
that's kind of my thing is I just building that connection, that community more than anything is what I really would prefer.
Yeah, and I think that at the end of the day, you if that is where your focus is, no matter what your goals are, you can't go wrong.
Mm.
Because, best case scenario, right? You made an amazing community, you grow it, you become a professional streamer, partnered, all this wonderful stuff, if that's what your goal is. Um, but there is no worst case scenario because if that doesn't happen, you've still made an amazing group of people. Uh, you've given them a lot of joy and entertainment, and you've had the chance to make friends, and like I said, family with them.
Yeah.
And I think that
Eh,
that is, it's so there's no downside.
I completely agree. Like that's the thing is like for me when I got in for the Mushu community and the Mushu planet, like I feel like at a good point where it was not too big, but also not too small, and it was a really decent size, and I got to know some really amazing people, and I still know some really amazing people, and I've made really good connections with them, and it's like for me that it just screams wonders and says something. Is like, even to this day, like a year later, I see this community and these people that I've known, and Mushu, and that the clan is kind of like, that second family, that family away from families, and then it's kind of extended to my own community is my own little like second family, where I care and I worry and stuff like that about these people, and I'm happy to see them and stuff like that, and it really just extends and extends, and it's like that's kind of where my focus is. And even if for whatever reason, maybe I get too busy or something like that, I feel like, I as much as I love streaming, it's, if I were to say whatever the case, I don't per se stream, I stop streaming or whatever it is, I still feel like I've built that connection, that community, those people, where I can take away that from this experience and be like, I'm very much okay with that. I'm not in it where it's like, my goal is to get X views or subs or get partnered and be a full-time streamer. I'm sure it would be amazing and fun, and it'd be an experience. But I think, like, for me, as much as I would like to do it, I also want to focus on other things, and I'm very ecstatic with the things that I've gotten so far, and I'd like to grow still, but like, it for me, it's just that community and that connection that are really the biggest thing, and I really want to continue that.
And I think that's one of the reasons that you're such an awesome and grounded person. I think that's why you're always so humble and appreciative of everything, and that means a lot from somebody like me watching you, because I like we were talking about that person earlier getting the huge rate or whatever, just being like, like that. I
Yeah,
mean, I can't, like, if I ever get to that point, I'm gonna have to reevaluate, who I am in my life, because I just don't think I could ever get to that point where I'm not like, holy, a raid, um,
I
and
I get like rates from whomever, big or small. I'm just like, wow, awesome, thank you so much, and very very kind of you. And I think, seeing when Mushu or whoever else were to, raids the smaller streamer or whoever else, and it's just like, you can see it's like, well, hey there, friend, or hey, so happy to see you guys and welcome you guys and everything, and it's just like, you see those interactions and that positivity and stuff. It's really cool, and it's really quite something to see.
yeah, I'm so excited that we got a chance to do this, because I knew we had a lot in common, but this is even better. Um,
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was excited too. I will admit, I almost forgot, and then and I was like, okay, wait, no, today's Sunday, right?
No, that's
and
that's okay, because I
yeah.
I forgot to remind you not to forget, and then, and I saw that in the DMs. I was like, whoops, which I gotta.
Gotta let them know.
Well, what I need to do is I need to start every week. I need to start messaging people, because I should do that, because it's not. I understand that people should like write stuff down, all that, but at the same time, some of these are scheduled out a month from now, so
Yeah.
I should definitely be better about that.
Oh, don't worry. My When it comes to like the time management and stuff like that, when it comes to those kinds of things, that is my weakness as well. Like, it took me so long to get like a calendar, and now I'm notorious for, I'll write things down on my phone, I'll write things down on like this calendar, that calendar, this thing. Like, in school I had an app that I'd write it down here, I'd write it down here, I'd sync it here, I'd do it here, I'd do it here, so no matter what, I remembered I had something due or to do, because if I didn't, I'd be screwed.
Yep, yep. Just start getting, it's like I didn't get notes tattooed on me to cheat. I got them so that I know what I'm doing in life.
So I know what's going
Yeah,
on.
like I didn't even know I had class. Um, all
uh,
right. Well, this has been an amazing, amazing experience, Andrew. Thank you so much, buddy. I
of
really, really
course, it was a lot of fun.
appreciate it. Um, so what we're gonna do normally, what the protocol is that we're going to let the guest um, pick. However, I do have a dear friend of the community who just came back to streaming. It's her birthday, so we're gonna host Sashi. But I do want to adhere to that rule. So if you want to message me, somebody that you would want to host next time, then when I'm on next, which I'm taking off tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I'm on next, I'll host them, and if I don't see them on, I'll throw the host your way. I'll be
Okay.
more than happy to do that. So I apologize for that, but like I said, she's doing a charity event. It's her birthday, and she's come
Oh, don't
back
even
for
worry
stream.
about it.
So, um,
Yeah,
but
that sounds good to me. Let's do it.
but I Andrew, I appreciate everything. You have been awesome. Thank you so much, buddy. Um, and to everybody, please drop them a follow at I gave the shout out right there over at Haughtmeal. Um, and yeah, just another amazing, awesome person from the Mushu team. And yeah, this was an amazing experience. And
Yeah, it was
I
a lot of fun.
also want to thank again Star and Nar Auras yesterday for their interviews. And next week we will be having uh, we will be doing an interview on the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. We will have Mother Coconuts on July 10th, Impulsive Veins July 11th, and we will have Dr. Sir Dialot on July 12th. So that will be awesome. Um, ready to interview you now? Um, well, I need to clean off the couch. But all right. On that note, um, but I am going to here. Let's go ahead and do the raid. Oh, okay. She's on a break right now, but it doesn't say that she's ending, so we're gonna go ahead and do it. Um,
Sounds good to me.
so and everybody can. Oh, there we go. Okay. What are you doing, sir? Anyways, I'm gonna get in trouble. Anyways, so let's see here. So here's the Discord. If you all have not joined, here's the Twitter. If you all have not followed, and here is the raid message. If you all have the subscription and the emotes. If you do not, spam whatever emotes you have. I'm sure Sashi will be very happy um, to see emotes in chat. So, as always, this has been a phenomenal experience. Thank you so much to everybody that came out. Thank you to everybody that is a part of this community. Thank you to everybody that came in from the Mushu team to support Andrew. And with that being said, I'm taking off tomorrow, but I'll be back on Tuesday. And then from there, we'll be back to the Remnant grind and then more interviews Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, hope you all have a wonderful rest of the night. Have a wonderful Monday, and I will see you all here in a couple days. So, love you all, and say hi, Sashi, for me. Bye, everybody.
Sounds good. That's it. Oh, there it goes.